Well, good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for the tardy start here. We've got both variance and code enforcement matters today. The first one on the agenda is the variance, but if you're here for the code enforcement hearing, you're in the right place. That'll be heard after the variance. Welcome to the City of Madeira Beach Special Exception Variance Use Special Magistrate Hearing. My name is Bart Valdez, and I'm the appointed special magistrate to hear today's cases. I'm a practicing attorney and have been a member of the Florida Bar for over 20 years. I've been appointed to this position in accordance and with the authority set forth under Florida law and the City of Madeira Beach Code of Ordinances. It is my role to fairly and objectively review the matters presented today in these variance requests. As such, I would like to advise you of certain matters related to today's proceedings. Today's matters will be heard in the order that they appear on the agenda. At this time, I've read and reviewed the applications with all attachments, any written submissions by anyone having an interest, any timely submitted written objections, and the materials provided by the city staff. In all cases, the hearing will be conducted in the following order. First, the city will present its case and staff report, and the applicant or owner may ask questions of the city's representative. The applicant will then present his or her case supported by witnesses and evidence, and the city may cross-examine each witness. Public comment will then be solicited or received from parties directly affected by the variance. Individuals testifying do not have the right to cross-examine the parties. All public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. Public participation will then be closed. I will deliberate and then make a decision to grant or deny each variance requested in the application. Formal rules of evidence do not apply to this proceeding. However, I will exert every effort to ensure that fundamental fairness is afforded to all parties. After my decision today, I will issue an order. The order will be reduced to writing, and the applicant will be provided with a copy by mail. Additionally, you are advised that I do not have the authority to grant you a building permit. You must still obtain a building permit for any work you intend to do on your property. If you wish to present any information to me today, it is necessary that you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth. Therefore, in just a moment, the city attorney will administer the oath and swear in any witnesses. If you expect to talk to me today during the hearing on your variance, then you will need to rise and be sworn. This includes any members of the public who are directly affected by the variance and may wish to provide public comment. Mr. Trask, can you go ahead and swear everybody in?
I just want to bring to your attention, first of all, that there have been a bunch of cases that have been canceled from the agenda, the first of which is the variance that was scheduled for today's meeting.
Okay, sorry about that, Mr. Trask.
So if I could just go through them, just so that you have them on your agenda. You should have
Sure.
your agenda that was put on the dais today. It's reflecting that in new business item 5A, the variance has been canceled, and then 3 code cases, which are listed under 5E, F, and G. Those were canceled as well. Those are going to be recited and set for next month. So we do have the cases on the agenda today for code enforcement, items B, C, and D. And if you want me to swear in those witnesses, I can, or do you want to?
Yeah, let me go ahead and do the preamble for the code enforcement. All right, we're switching to the City of Madeira Code Enforcement hearing. Again, my name is Bart Valdez. I am the appointed special magistrate to hear today's cases. I have been appointed to this position in accordance and with the authority set forth in Chapter 162 Florida statutes. It is my role to fairly and objectively review the matters presented. As such, I would like to advise you of certain matters related to today's proceedings. Today's matters will be heard in the order that they appear on the agenda. Every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence, argument, or comments to offer related to the specific case that is being heard. As you know, just in a few minutes, you will need to be sworn in by the city attorney. In all cases, since the city has the burden of proof, the city will present its case first. The respondent or owner then will be given the opportunity to refute the city's allegations. Formal rules of evidence do not apply to this proceeding. However, I will exert every effort to ensure that fundamental fairness is afforded to all parties. After hearing all relevant evidence, I will issue an order. The order will be reduced to writing, and you will be provided with a copy by mail. Additionally, you are advised that I do not have the authority to grant you a variance, permit, or special exception of any kind. My role is solely to determine whether a city code has been violated and to provide you a reasonable time to correct the violation by whatever means is available to you. Please be advised that you may be subject to a fine and a lien may be recorded on your property if the violation is not corrected by the compliance deadline. If you wish to present any information to me today, it is necessary that you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth. Therefore, Mr. Trask, please swear in all the witnesses.
Anyone's going to speak, if you can stand up, raise your right hand, I'll swear you're under oath. You swear the testimony you're about to give today is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. The first case I have on the agenda today is case number CE 24-76. This is for the property located at 13119 4th Street East. Is the city ready to proceed?
We are.
Go ahead, Mr. Trask.
Thank you. The city would call Grace Mills as the city's witness in this case. Grace, you've been sworn under oath. This particular property located at 13119 4th Street East, is this a proactive case or was this a complaint that was received?
This was a complaint that was received.
Okay. And who did you receive the complaint from and what was the actual complaint?
Let me get to that page. It was from an Andrew Anderson that lived at the address regarding someone living in a tool shed in the rear of the property.
Okay. Did you go out to the property to determine whether or not there was a violation of any code section of the city code?
Yes.
Okay. What did you find when you went to the property?
There is a living shed in the back that has not been permitted, that will need to be permitted or removed.
Okay, so let's go back then. Since you found a violation, we'll talk about the code section in a minute. Let's talk about the ownership of the property. Have you had the opportunity to determine who the owner of the property is?
I have. That's reflected on page 3 for Kell Properties LLC.
Okay, and this is the printout from the Pinellas County Property Appraiser's Office?
That's correct.
Okay. And did it also, does it also provide a mailing address for that particular LLC?
It does. 2288 Edith Drive in Dunedin, Florida.
Okay. Did you also pull up the printout for the Pinellas County Tax Collector's Office?
I did. That starts on page 6 for the reflection, stating the same owner for the address.
Okay, and that's on page 6 and 7 of the packet?
Yes.
Okay. Once you found out that it was a limited liability company, did you go to Sunbiz and find out the contact information listed at Sunbiz?
I did. That starts on page 8 for Kell Properties, showing the registered agent and the Edith address in Dunedin.
Okay, and the registered agent listed is?
St. Louis Kessie, Esquire.
Okay, but at the same address that was listed in the two previous
That's correct. Yes, they
documents?
match.
Okay. All right. Once you went out to the property, what was the date that you arrived on the property to determine whether or not there was a violation?
Let me see what pages. It would have been August 1st, 2024.
Okay. And when you went to the property, were you met there with the property owner or with any of the tenants at the property?
No, there were no tenants or property owners. However, from the property line, you're able to see directly back to where the shed is.
Okay. So did you happen to take a photograph of the shed while you were out there that day?
Let's see. Reflected on page 14 was from August 1st, 2024. And that was actually one that was submitted from the tenant himself that put the complaint in.
All right. Well, in looking at this photograph, can you explain what we're looking at in the photograph on page 14?
So this is near the rear of the multifamily dwelling, and the tenant looks to have taken a photo of the shed that's in the rear of the yard while he's underneath the actual multifamily dwelling.
I'm sorry, under the what?
The house there.
Okay, so he's under the house, looking into the backyard, and this is a photograph of the shed. That's what we're looking at, the door there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Once you saw the shed there, how did you determine that the shed was not allowed to be there or was a code violation?
Let me go back up to the property appraiser. There are 4 units at the property that were rentals prior to the storm. I don't believe it's being rented now. But the property appraiser states that there's 4 living units and 1 building. There's also no history that the city has for permitting this. It would need to be permitted to make sure that the zone that it's in, that it's enough setback and that it's proper size as well.
Okay. So what is the actual violation of the city code then?
It is 8652 when required, basically stating the lack of permit for it.
Okay. So in your testimony earlier, you had testified that there was actually somebody living in this unpermitted shed, is that correct?
That was from the complaint, yes.
Okay. But that's really not part of this code violation, correct?
No.
Okay. The real code violation here is there was a shed built there and there was no permit for it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. On August 1st, did you issue a courtesy notice of violation for the property?
I did, yes, that's reflected starting on page 12.
And what did this courtesy notice provide to the property owner?
It gave them the ordinance, what the violation detail was, that there was an unpermitted accessory structure located on the property, and the corrective action, which would be to obtain a building permit. If the permit cannot be obtained, the structure needs to be removed. And I gave a follow-up date of August 15th, 2024.
All right. Did you get a response to the courtesy notice of code violation?
I did not.
Okay. But it was sent to an attorney, correct?
I believe the property owner is one, yes.
Okay. All right, if you could turn to page 15 of the packet and explain what that is.
It was, while researching the property, there was a Zillow listing on the property that actually reflected the shed a little bit better than the photo we received. So I added this to the violation as well, just to reflect the violation easier.
Okay, so this was attached to the courtesy violation notice,
Yes.
correct? Okay. So you did not get a response to that courtesy letter. Did you send a notice of code violation then?
Yes, that starts on page 16, and it was sent August 19th, 2024, to the same property owner, certified mail.
So this is basically exactly like the courtesy notice, except to give additional time to come into compliance, correct?
Yes, it's the exact same violation detail, exact same corrective action. I gave until September 2nd for the follow-up date. We did not ever get the green card back, but I did speak to, in my rounds on the island while I'm doing inspections, I was stopped by a man who, I don't know if it was the homeowner or a tenant there, that said that they had received the violation and that they're going to get it permitted. So we had an in-person conversation. However, nothing came of that.
Okay. So if you could then turn to page 20 and 21 of the packet, is this the green card that was attached to the notice of code violation that was sent?
That's correct.
And this is what you're saying, you did not get a response. You didn't get this green card back.
That's correct.
All right. So that was in August and September of last year. Now we're in February of 2025. What was the reason that there was a delay between those two notices and the statement of violation that was about to be issued in February of this year?
I would say mostly the hurricanes that hit the island were in September, so everything kind of came to a pause for that.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about the statement of violation request for hearing then on page 22. What was the date that that was issued?
It's February 14th, 2025.
Once this statement of violation was issued, was this sent by regular mail and certified mail?
Both, yes.
Okay. Did you get the regular mail back?
No,
Did you get the green card back from the certified mailing?
we have not yet.
Okay. Did it apprise the property owner of the same code violation, section 8652, a permit was required for the shed?
Yes,
All right. Did you get a response to this statement of violation?
did not, no.
Okay. Did you issue a notice of hearing for today's hearing?
I did, that's reflected on start on page 24.
And did you send this by regular and certified mail?
Yes,
And same questions, the regular mail did not come back, correct?
no, I did not.
And we have not gotten the green card back on the certified mailing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so if you could turn to page 26 of the packet, I want to talk to you about the affidavit of service. Can you explain to the special magistrate what this is and what the purpose of it's for?
Yes, so the affidavit of service lays out in detail the days that certain letters were either posted or sent out. It's reflecting that on the 14th of February, I sent the notice of hearing by certified mail, and then by first-class regular mail as well. It also reflects that I posted the actual documents on the property. It gives the property address and the parcel number with the 14th day of February. And it also reflects at the bottom that I posted the same documents that were sent and posted at the property here at City Hall.
All right, and did you receive did you send that by regular mail and certified mail?
The affidavit of service, yes.
Okay. Did you get the green card back on that one?
No.
All right. Can you turn to page 30 and 31 and explain what those photographs are?
Page 30 reflects the actual posting of the documents that I just spoke about being posted at the property on February 14th. And 31, just from the property line, it's a straight shoot back. There's kind of like an overhang from the units. You can see in the back there, the front door of the shed. You kind of have to look a little bit, but it was just to reflect that the shed was still there when I posted the property and it hasn't been removed.
Okay. And the photograph on page 32?
That is the copies of the postings that have been posted downstairs at City Hall.
Okay. Is the property in compliance as of today?
No.
All right. How much time do you think is a reasonable period of time for the property owner to bring the property into compliance by obtaining the building permit?
45 days.
And what is the daily fine you think is appropriate on this particular code violation case for the daily fine, should it not be in compliance within 45 days?
The city would find $200 a day, with it potentially being a life and health safety issue if someone is living in there.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions of Ms. Mills. I would tender into evidence pages 3 through 32 of the packet to be received into evidence as the city's exhibit number 1.
All right, I'll go ahead and receive into evidence pages number 3 through page 32 of the agenda packet as exhibit number 1 to this hearing. Good afternoon, ma'am. Again, sorry I was late. I appreciate you waiting. I take it you're here on behalf of the respondent or the owner?
Kell Properties,
Okay, and what's your name?
Cassie St. Louis.
All right. And ma'am, I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell me everything you want about this violation in just a few minutes.
Sure.
Now is your opportunity to cross-examine Ms. Mills over what she testified to. Do you have any cross-examination for Ms. Mills?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Ms. Mills, did you have contact with the complainant?
When he came in to file the complaint, yes.
Okay. And he told you someone was living in the shed?
Yes.
Did you ever speak with anybody living in the shed?
No.
Okay. Did the complainant tell you who erected the shed?
No.
Did you ever find out who erected the shed?
Nope.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you stated the violation date that you had gone around was August 1st of 2024?
Yes, that's the date that the violation letter was sent out.
Sure. And you went to the property that day?
Yes.
And there were no tenants or the property owner there?
There was no one there at the time that I stopped by, no.
Okay. So at the time you were there, you didn't see anyone living in the shed?
No, it's in the rear of the property.
And then when you sent out that notice of violation, you did not get a green card back saying that the owner got that notice of violation?
The first letter is not a certified letter.
Okay. So did you ever get any certification back from anything that you sent the owner that they actually received the service on anything you sent?
No, but the tracking numbers can be tracked if the magistrate would like.
Okay. But you never received any of the green cards back?
The city did not, no.
Okay. You stated earlier the property is not in compliance as of today?
That's correct.
Okay, and when's the last time you went to the property?
It would have been February 14th.
Okay, and so how do you know that the property is not in compliance as of today?
As of my last date of the check, it is not in compliance. I have had no communication. There are also no permits to remove or to approve a permit for a shed to be there.
Okay, so the last check was February 14th?
Yes, and there's no history of a permit to allow for it to be there or to be removed.
Okay. I have no further questions, thank you.
No redirect.
All right. Does the city have any other witnesses?
No other witnesses.
All right, very good. All right, Ms. St. Louis, this is the time of the hearing where you can tell me anything you want to tell me. You can share any documents, call any witnesses on your own. And just so you're aware, as you formulate your presentation, my understanding of the city's code enforcement dispute here has nothing to do with the tenant living there or not living there. That was the genesis of the dispute. The issue that I'm being asked to determine is whether or not that shed was erected without a building permit, and then the relief the city is requesting today is to either tear down that shed or get an after-the-fact building permit for the shed. So if that helps you understand
Sure.
my thought process as to what I'm considering today, it has nothing to do with a tenant being in there. It's only whether or not that shed as an accessory structure was permitted when it was built. And what the city's asking me to do is find that there is no evidence that it was permitted and give you 60 days to get a, good and after-the-fact building permit for it.
Sure.
So anyway, that's just give you an idea of what I'm hearing, but this is your opportunity to provide any information you want to me about this violation.
Sure. Yes, thank you. It's my understanding that the structure in question was erected by a former tenant who did not have the permission or knowledge from Cal Properties to erect such a structure. This is a fourplex building. This building has been vacant since the hurricanes. The structure that was on the property has since been torn down as requested by the city of Madeira Beach. This was not a structure that Cal Properties had knowledge of until sometime after or prior to the hurricanes. But unfortunately, Your Honor, as I'm sure you're aware, there were 2 hurricanes that provided a ton of flooding to this area. That included records that Cal Properties had possessed. If there ever was a notice of violation in Cal Properties that Cal Properties had, it was potentially destroyed during the flooding that happened. With saying that, no notice of violation, to my knowledge, was ever seen to correct this, to make corrective actions here. But as I said, the structure has since been taken down. It was taken down on the 21st as requested by the city of Madeira Beach. I do have pictures showing that the structure is down.
So you show those to Mr. Trask first and see if he has any objection.
This property has been vacant for months and months since these 2 hurricanes. There was a substantial damage letter. To my understanding, there was a substantial damage letter that was sent by the city of Madeira Beach. So there's no tenants in this property. So this property is sitting here vacant with a random shed that was erected by a tenant that Cal Properties had no knowledge of. Cal Properties at no time was trying to rent out this shed or knew about the shed. And then now with the devastation of the flooding, the property is just sitting there. So what Cal Properties was attempting to do was tear down the whole structure, including the building, but is waiting on building permits to do so. So it was just going to take everything down at once. That way it could save on costs and such to get crews down there 2 times. But given this hearing, it's now been taken down and we're waiting on building permits for the actual building itself because the flood damage is now made it so that nobody can live in it. So that's where we're at today. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and accept into evidence with, the city does not object. So Exhibit 2 will be the photograph that shows a man standing on what appears to be the space where the old shed was located, and Exhibit 3 also appears to be demolition of the shed. So I'll go ahead and accept that in as Exhibit number 2 and 3. And ma'am, I noted you're an attorney, so are you appearing in your capacity today as counsel for the LLC? Are you appearing as the owner? Because I don't know if that affects Mr. Trask's ability to conduct cross-examination. I think if you're just here as an attorney, I'm not sure, but I know you're also a manager or member.
I am the majority member of Cal Properties.
All right, so you're here in both capacities as counsel for the LLC, also as the actual owner's representative.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Trask, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and let you ask any questions of Ms. St. Louis in regard to her testimony today.
Who is Philip
Philip,
St. Louis?
sorry, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Philip St. Louis is my father.
Okay. And Kell Properties is managed, what are the names of the managers of Kell Properties? Is it just you?
The day-to-day manager, he manages the day-to-day management operations of Kell Properties, and then there's me, who does more of admin and legal stuff, if that comes up.
Okay. But Mr. St. Louis owned this property before, your dad owns this property before it became owned by Kell Properties LLC, correct?
At some point, correct, yes.
And you, as one of the managers of the property, are you representing to the special magistrate today that you have never seen this shed on the property until you got these notices from the code enforcement staff?
That's correct. I don't go to this property.
So you've never
Very
been to
often.
the property then, correct?
I've been to the property.
And when was the shed built?
I have no idea when the shed was built.
Okay. So you don't dispute, though, that the shed was there and there was no permit that was issued for that shed, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you did not obtain, or Kell Properties did not obtain a building permit to demolish the shed either, did you?
Correct.
Okay. And you would not have an objection to city staff or the code enforcement department to come on this property and determine whether or not, to see whether the shed still exists, do you? You don't have any objection to that, correct?
No objection.
Okay. All right. I don't think I have any other questions of Ms. St. Louis.
Okay. Ms. St. Louis, are there any other witnesses you'd like to call or any other documents or evidence you'd like to present to me today?
No, Your Honor.
All right, no problem. I may have some other questions because I'm going to have some questions for the city as to how to proceed here. But I think it's probably appropriate now to move on to public comment. Are there any members of the public here today that have direct knowledge as to this code violation that wish to come forward and speak today? Okay, seeing none, I'll kick it back to you, Mr. Trask. In light of the information that was provided by the owner here today and the pictures that are Exhibit 2 and 3, does that change or modify the request by the city as to how this property can be brought into compliance?
No, I just think that give the city some time to go out there and inspect the property, determine whether or not that actually is the shed that was torn down. It wasn't some other portion of the building that was torn down. So it really doesn't change our recommendation. We can go out and do the inspection within the next couple of days. So if we could have 7 to 10 days to do that, I'm just suggesting that you keep it at 45 days in case it's not the shed. And it's something else that's been removed out there. It will still give them some opportunity to pull that building permit. So, that's our
Okay.
position.
And Ms. Mills, with all that's going on, I'm sure the city's been busy with building permits all over the place. You think 45 days is enough time for the city to get whatever information they need, process the application, and issue a decision one way or the other?
More than enough, yep.
Okay, great. All right, ma'am, based on the pictures that the city provided as well as Ms. Mills' testimony, I'm going to go ahead and find that there was a violation at some point. I guess there's a question as to whether or not there exists a violation today. So what I'm going to do is, certainly as of the date of the notice, there appears to be a violation because the shed was built without a permit, and there's no evidence in the record before me that there was a permit for this accessory structure. I'm going to go ahead and find that 45 days is a reasonable time to bring the property into compliance. And, if it's already demolished, then I would encourage you to immediately get with the city and have them come out and do an inspection.
Okay.
And in the event that they determine, typically what happens is, in the event they determine that it's been demolished, they'll do an affidavit of compliance and whatnot, and that will go in the file.
Okay.
So because of the allegations, and again, although it's not part of my decision today, but because there were some allegations that somebody was living in there from someone purporting to be a tenant, I do find that the sum of $200 a day is appropriate. It doesn't sound like it's going to get to that because you've already demolished the structure, but I'm going to go ahead and give you 45 days to be brought into compliance and $200 a day fine after that. Ma'am, if for whatever reason it's a situation where you need more time for compliance, I'm here every 30 days, and the same date and time. Well, sometimes it's 2 o'clock, but I'm here every 30 days. You can always come back before me and ask for an extension of time to bring the property into compliance, but hopefully it sounds like that's already done.
Yes,
So with that, that concludes the hearing on CE-24-76. So thank you very much for your time today, ma'am.
Thank you. If I just may clarify, I know the first picture that was shown was like, it looked like a black structure. Is that also a shed that needs to come down, just so I'm clear?
The only shed I'm aware of that needs to come down is on page 19
blue
of the exhibit packet. It's that one right there, and I'm looking at page 19. Yeah, I think if you get Ms. Mills, page 19, there you go. That's the one
Yeah,
that I
okay,
understand to be
okay.
the shed that needs to be permanent or come down.
If you can scroll up just to the page before. Oh, okay, I thought you were pointing at the, okay, I see the structure now. Totally fine. Got it. Thank you.
All right, and again, ma'am, I would encourage you to get with Ms. Mills or whoever else at the city as soon as possible, and they can work on the next steps for you.
Great, thank you.
All right, the next case is CE 24-63 for the property located at 435 South Bayshore Drive. Is the city ready to proceed?
Yes, and I believe Mr. Diaz is here on this case. He's going to step forward.
Okay, great.
So, but city's ready to proceed.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Trask.
Thank you. So, Grace, on this particular case, which is 435 South Bayshore Drive, are you familiar with this case?
I am, yes.
Okay. Who's the owner of this property?
Blasia P. Tucker.
And how do you know that?
If you look at page 33, it reflects the property appraiser showing the owner name.
Okay. And did you also check to see who the owner is by way of the tax collector's office?
I did, yes. That's going to start on page 36, showing the same.
Okay. Is this a proactive case, or is this a complaint that you received?
It's proactive.
Okay. When was your first time out of the property to determine that there was a violation at the property?
June 27th is when it was first noticed.
Of last year,
Of
2024?
2024, yes, sorry.
Okay. And when you went out to the property, can you explain to Special Magistrate what you found when you went out to the property?
Upon going out to the property, if you take a look, it starts on page 40, following down, you can just see a state of disrepair of the soffit and fascia. Not sure if anyone's living in the property or not, but it looks to be possibly vacant. Just some exterior upkeeping that needs to happen at the property was noted.
Okay, and page 41?
Oh, you want me to go page by page?
Yeah.
Yes. 41 is showing some of the failing soffit fascia on the side. 42 is showing the same over the garage and kind of the front area of the house. 43, I don't know if the garage doors failed or not, or if that was just to keep water out, but also above the garage, you can see the failing wood that is starting to separate as well. 44 is actually directly above the front door of the property with a light fixture that has seemed to be rotting away for some while. 45 is actually one of the side properties. It's a fence that is missing a few panels, showing the vegetation debris on the side of the yard as well.
Okay, so when you went out to the property in June of last year, did you determine that there were code violations?
Yes.
And what code violations did you find when you went out there? I know you went through the photographs, but what code sections?
The first is going to start with 1469, which is maintenance of the exterior premises, saying that private property and vacant lots shall be kept free of all hazard to the health, safety, and welfare of persons on or nearby the premises. I stated that there was garbage, trash, refuge, debris. That's more in regards to the vegetation on the side of the property, and the sandbags as well that had been long standing at the property in front of the garage door. Also, 3 is overhanging or overhead objects which are loose and securely fastened or otherwise constitute a danger of falling on persons, which is talking about the failing soffit and fascia and the overhang lamp in front of the front door.
Okay,
1470 is same general maintenance, the exterior of every structure or accessory structure. This also includes the fence shall be maintained in good repair, termite-free. All surfaces should be kept painted. This goes for the fence that needs repair as well as just the exterior of the property that needs general upkeep. Section 110, 446, this is the division that applies to all fences, hedges, walls, and that is going to site number 7, which is maintenance, and that's just simply stating that the fence that has missing panels needs maintenance.
All right, so you issued a notice of code violation in June of last year,
That's correct.
and it's on page 37, 38, and, well, and continuing thereafter, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this notice of code violation, what was the corrective action that the property owner needed to take?
It was either the property owner or a licensed contractor will need to apply for and obtain a building permit if required to make repairs, modifications to comply. If a permit cannot be obtained, the structure or changes must be removed.
All right. So did you get a response to this letter that you sent?
No.
And what time did you give the property owner to comply?
On the original letter, let me go back up to it, sorry. July 11th of 2024 was my follow-up date.
So having gotten no response to that, did you issue another notice of code violation?
On July 16th, 2024, I did, yes.
Is this the same as the prior one? It just gives more time to come into compliance?
Yes, that follow-up date of this letter was July 30th, 2024.
And that's in the packet starting at page 46?
Correct, yes.
You send this by regular and certified mail?
Both, yes.
Okay, did you get the regular mail back?
We did not get the green card, or the regular mail back, no, we did not, but we also did not receive the signed green card either.
Okay. So has anything happened since that last code violation notice?
Permitting-wise, no.
So wasn't this case set for hearing last month?
It was, yes, the city received a request for extension. The city manager granted an extension for 30 days.
Okay.
During that time frame, no permits were applied for, so it was brought to this month's hearing.
All right, let's talk about then the statement of violation and request for hearing. That's on page 57. Did you issue this statement of violation request for hearing?
I did, yes.
Does it cite the same code sections as the previous notices?
It does, yes.
Okay, and did you send this by regular mail and certified mail?
Correct.
Did the regular mail come back?
No,
Did the green card come back for the certified mail?
not yet.
Okay. And did you issue a notice of hearing for today's hearing?
That's correct, yes, it starts on page 60.
Okay. And did you send that by regular mail and certified mail as well?
Yes.
Did the regular mail come back on the notice of hearing?
No,
Did you receive the green card back?
no.
All right. So did you issue then did you post the property?
Yes,
Okay. And is that reflected on page 67 of the packet?
it is, yes.
All right, let's talk about page 67 for a minute. There's a for sale sign in the front yard. Is that the for sale sign for this particular property that we want the code violations to be corrected on?
It would appear so.
And how long has that for sale sign been sitting out front?
Couldn't tell you an exact date, but a matter of months.
Okay. So in the last couple of months, then, no activity has occurred at all on this property to correct the problems?
Not until recently. There may have been inside debris that was removed from water getting into the house, but permit-wise, no, there has been no activity.
All right. So did you, besides posting the property, did you also post it at City Hall?
Yes, and that's shown on 68
All
on
right.
our bulletin board.
And did you do an affidavit of service for this particular property?
I did, yes, and I sent it regular mail and certified mail. I did not get the regular mail back, and I have not gotten the green card back yet for those mailings.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about an email that you received late Friday night on this property. I'm going to go ahead and hand it to Special Magistrate.
All right, while you're doing that, Mr. Trask, I assume you want me to accept into evidence as exhibit number 1, pages 33 through 68 of the agenda packet?
Yes, I would request that they be received into evidence.
All right, go ahead and accept as exhibit number 1, pages 33 through 68 of the agenda packet. tell me about these other documents you just handed me.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Trask.
I just want to have Grace prove them up. So you received this email from Brenda Fernandez Friday night, 6:30 PM. This came to your email address, correct? Or to the building department email address?
It went to the building department and then was forwarded to me.
Okay, what is this all about?
On Thursday, the 20th, I had a contractor come into the main lobby requesting that this property was not heard at the special magistrate, as they had been waiting on a permit. I let them know that the magistrate hearing would still be happening as there was no approved permit of any kind. She had mentioned that the property owners or relation to the owner were going to be out of town. I said, you're able to send an email in to whatever you'd like to let the special magistrate know. You can send it to the building department. So she did. And it seems to state, hello, we are working on the property at 435 South Bay Shore, Madeira Beach. We're doing the interior demo and we are waiting for the permit a few weeks. There's a hearing on Monday, but our client is out of town. We spoke with the city of Madeira on Wednesday and they said that we should email this address to just make sure that they give them an extension until the permit is approved. My name is Brenda Fernandez with SBR Construction.
Okay, so let's talk about the building permit they've been waiting for a few weeks. When did they file the application for the building permit?
February 19th of this year.
Okay, so 2 days before the email, they applied for a building permit,
Yes.
okay? Does the building permit that's been applied for have anything at all to do with what we're here on these code violations today?
No, the application that we received has nothing in reference to the violations.
Okay, what is the building permit application for that Ms. Fernandez is talking about?
The project description that was submitted to the city is for demo, interior drywall, cabinets, and furniture removal.
Okay. The city did not cite them for any of those matters as being code violations, correct?
No.
So we're talking about fascia, soffit, fence, hanging stuff by the light fixture, palm fronds, that type of thing on
Any
the outside.
exterior repairs, if there's cracking or anything, yeah.
Okay. Has the city received any other permit applications for this property other than this one that Mrs. Fernandez is talking about?
No.
Okay. So the property is still in violation as of today?
Yes.
Okay. How much time do you think would be an appropriate period of time for the property owner to bring the property into compliance?
The planning and zoning has to, since we have received the first application on the property post-storm and everything, they have to make a substantial damage determination on the property, which we are requesting information based off of this first permit. With that being taken into account, I would say 60 days.
Okay. And with regard to the daily fine, should the property not come into compliance within 60 days, how much do you think would be appropriate daily fine and the reasons why?
I believe the city would fine $250 a day with life and health safety taken into consideration of the property owner itself and also neighboring owners for the state of the property.
All right, at this point, I would tender into evidence the pieces of paper that I provided to the special magistrate, the email, which consists of 3 pages, and then the permit application, which it looks like 4 pages.
I'll go ahead and accept into evidence as exhibit number 2, the email from Brenda Fernandez to the city with attachments. Exhibit 3 will be what appears to be a permit plan review and inspection status report printout. Those will be exhibits 2 and 3.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
All right. Ms. Mills, what is the legal significance of what the Planning Review Commission is going to do? In other words, if they determine there is or is not a substantial damage determination, how does that impact what the owner would do next in regard to this property?
If the property is substantially damaged, it would either need to be brought into compliance by a number of options, lifting, full demolition, new build, such as that, or they are able to appeal and give supporting documents to planning and zoning to overturn that. If it's not substantially damaged, they will issue permits as normal, but if it is substantially damaged, it could potentially take longer because we will not issue a permit until a plan comes in to take that property out of violation for substantial damage.
All right, understood. Thank you. All right, sir, are you here on behalf of the owner?
Yes,
What
I'm
is your name, sir?
Blasier Tucker's brother,
All right,
I
and
do
so
have-
what is your name?
John Diaz,
John Diaz, and is that D-I-A-Z?
Dias.
D-I-A-S. All right, Mr. Diaz, you're the owner, the
No.
owner's brother.
I have the power of attorney for my sister,
Okay.
as she is handicapped.
All right, sir. In just a moment, I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell me anything at all you want to tell me about this violation, present any evidence, call any witnesses, and show me any documents. But this is your opportunity during this proceeding to ask Ms. Mills any questions about what she just testified to. You don't have to ask her any questions if you don't want to, but you have that ability to cross-examine her.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions you'd like to
I
ask her?
do have a few questions
ahead.
because, first of all, I live in Portugal with my wife. We're both retired. We are U.S. citizens. And as I was in Portugal, I did not know anything about this property, about the violations whatsoever.
And sir, again, I want you to tell me all of this, but I just want the record to be clear. This is your chance to ask her questions
Okay.
as to what she testified to. You don't have to ask her questions.
So
You can
when
just
do
go
I
right on to telling me what you want to tell me, or you can ask her questions about what she
Okay.
just said.
Are you with the deputy together? Do you work with the deputy?
He works with the city, yes.
So, since November, I've been trying to call the deputy's office and the city of Madeira Beach, and I have been explaining to them as to, because one of the neighbors told me that, there has been a deputy back and forth, and I think you have violations because as my sister is handicapped, what we tried to do is one of my friends who lives over here close to, in Pasadena.
I'm going to object. This
Yeah,
is not a question.
I tell you what, it sounds like you want to share information with me, which I very much want
Okay,
to
the only
hear.
question I have is, I did get back to your deputy a couple of times, and I didn't get any answers from him, nor the city. I left my name, my email address, as I was in Portugal. And this was since November, and then I came to the States in December.
Okay, the notices were sent to the property owner off of the property appraiser address,
Yes,
so
but all
that's why
I'm
it
saying
was.
is, I did call your city of Madeira Beach, City Hall over here, to the deputy's office, and I was told the deputy is out on his rounds, and no one knew anything about it. They didn't know how to contact him. I did not know who to contact, but I did try to call the deputy a couple of times since last year.
Okay.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
All right. Before you tell me anything, are there any other witnesses that the city would like to call, Mr. Trask?
No other witnesses, thank you.
All right. Sir, this is your opportunity during the hearing to tell me anything you want to tell me. You can share documents, photographs.
Sure.
You can call other witnesses, or just tell me what you want to tell me that you think I
Okay,
need to
sir.
consider.
Yes, as I said before, I'll repeat that again. As me and my wife are retired, we are U.S. citizens and we live in Portugal. I did not know anything about these citations as my sister is handicapped. And because of the storms, let's go back. So I've been explaining, as she's handicapped and the house is falling apart, more or less, we did put the house with a realtor to sell it off. So she was trying her best to sell the house, and we did get offers, but then all of a sudden the offers were pulled back. And I tried to get in touch. I had constant contact with this realtor. And she told me, John, yes, there's another offer, but unfortunately they pulled it back. So when I came to the States, which was middle of November, I came for two reasons. One was because of my daughter. She fell down and she needed surgery. Secondly, to take care of my sister who's handicapped, Blasier Tucker. I could not come over here to Madeira Beach, but one of the neighbors who's sitting over here, Brenda Fernandez, she passed by the house and she called me and she said, John, are you as I put my sign for sale over there, she saw the sign, my phone number, and she called me, and she said, "Your sister has a bunch of violations, looks like, John." So that's the first time I came to know that there have been violations, code violations from the city, that the guy who had called me before, he did not know exactly if there were or if there were not. He just said the police was stopping by. So as Brenda informed me that there have been code violations, I got in touch with her immediately and I told her, what can we do about this? And she said, the first thing we got to do is clean up the property inside out. That would be the first thing to do. And secondly, if you want to do any renovations to the house, the soffit and all that, we can take care of that after we get all this done. But remember one thing, that the city of Madeira Beach right now, it takes a long time for permits and all kinds of stuff because there's been a lot of houses that have been damaged. So I said, okay, let's get first things first done. The reason I waited for so long because since I was from Portugal, I had sent an email to FEMA that I was told that FEMA has to first go into the property to check the property out, and then I could start doing whatever necessary. So I've been calling FEMA on and off, on and off, on and off, and they said that they pulled my application back for some reason. I don't know for what reason, December. And they reinstated the application. So I told Brenda, her husband is a contractor. I said to go ahead, clean out the property, because she sent me pictures which from the hurricane damage also, the neighbors put all the stuff from his property into my sister's property, which was not there before. So now she is working on the permits to get the first things done first, which would be clean out of the house inside where there's a lot of mold, and clean out the exterior. I was on the property last week, so I did take a look, and they're doing a really good job about it. So once this stuff is cleaned out, we're going to start doing the renovation of the house.
All right, sir, thank you. I think I understand everything you said. Mr. Trask, do you have any questions for Mr. Diaz?
Yeah, I've got some questions for Mr. Diaz. Is this property vacant?
At the moment, yes. No one can live in it.
How long has it been vacant?
It's been vacant, so before the storm could come, so let's go back. Last year, I came over here to help my sister. I think last year we had another storm. So she could not put her head up. She's handicapped. I was trying to help her out for the last 3 months and running to doctors back and forth. So I took her to India, where she got medical help with therapy and all that. And then she was supposed to go back for therapy, so she came to the States. I went to Portugal. When she came back to the States, she was staying with some friends who were taking care of her. And as she is handicapped, she went back to the property, but she could not live over there. So since last year, we've been trying to sell the house.
So it was a very simple question, sir.
Yes.
When was the last time the property was occupied?
I have no idea about that.
At least a year it's been vacant, you would
It's
say?
been a year, yes.
Okay. And who is the management company that's been taking care of the property, picking up the palm fronds, cutting the grass, that type of thing?
So one of her friends offered to help her with some company. I have no idea who it was. So they were coming and cleaning up in the front.
Okay, so you don't really know then, do
I
you?
have no idea because
Okay.
I don't live over here.
So in the past year, has anybody tried to repair the fence on the property?
I have no idea about that.
In the past year, has anybody picked up any of the palm fronds on the property?
I have no idea.
Okay, and these sandbags that are falling apart up against the garage door, they've been there more than a year, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you have possession of the notices now for this code case? You know exactly what needs to be done to bring the property into compliance?
So Ms. Fernandez is sitting over here. This is the first time I came to know as to what needs to be done. And she's helping me out with these things.
So you don't even know what needs to be
I
done?
have no idea what is
Okay.
what.
And when you asked a month ago, when you asked the city to continue the case for another month or so for you to get the property into compliance, you haven't done anything in the past month, have you?
Yes, I did. I got in
Have-
touch with her, and we are trying to clear the property out first. And then once we get that done, we're going to work on the exterior and the interior because the house is going to be renovated.
You understand that the interior of the house has nothing to do with this code enforcement case,
I know,
correct?
but the
Okay.
exterior is going to be done
All right.
at the same time.
So you've seen the pictures that have been shown
Yes,
today?
I just saw the pictures up there.
Okay. You don't dispute that this is the way the property looks today?
I do not, no.
Okay, all right. So the owner of the property is no longer in the States then,
The owner of the property is in Sarasota right now in a nursing home.
in a nursing home? So
In a
she's
nursing-
not coming back to the property?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, now that you know what needs to be done for these code enforcement matters, the fascia, the soffit, the fence, the yard cleanup, how much time do you think it would take to get that accomplished?
So as I spoke to Ms. Fernandez, she said it's taking a long time to get permits.
You don't need a permit to pick up palm fronds. You don't need a
No,
permit
that
to
has
pick up
been already
sandbags.
started. Can I show you some pictures as to
I
what
just
has
need you to
been
answer
done?
my questions. How much time do you think it'll take to clean the property up, fix the fascia, fix the soffit? She can't answer your questions. You're going to need to answer them, sir.
Okay.
So if you don't know, you can just tell us you don't know the
I
answer.
have no idea.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the city is recommending 60 days to get the property cleaned up and the fascia and the soffit fixed. You think that that's sufficient enough time to get that
I
done?
would need a little bit more time,
How much time do you think it would take?
at least 3 months.
Okay, and
Because as I'm not living here, can I give you an example as to why, the
Sir-
reason?
Sir, you can hire contractors, you don't need to live here.
Okay.
You can get the property cleaned up, and you can hire contractors to do that. You don't necessarily need to be here
But
to do that,
her
correct?
husband is a contractor. He's the one who will be doing the job for me.
Okay. All right, so you think more than 60 days, you just don't know really how much?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right, I have no other questions for Mr. Diaz. I appreciate him appearing today.
All right.
So,
Sir, I don't have any questions for you. Are there any other witnesses or any other information you'd like to share with me today?
Yes, sir. As my sister is handicapped, since last year, I've been struggling to get her back on her feet, because of her condition. As I've been also sick, I have a slight problem that's the reason I asked him for some more time. So when I came to the States, I was taking care of my daughter, and while doing that, I myself was admitted to the hospital. So I was in the hospital for 6 days, and they've been trying to put a heart monitor on me and doing a few tests and all that. So I'm not asking for more time because just for the name's sake, but because of my sickness. I know I can hire any contractor. Contractors are all over the place. It all depends what type of a contract, as I have faith in one contractor who has started the job already, and it is taking some time for the city to issue permits because I want to do a good job renovating the inside, the outside, making the property look really nice. And as I said before, my sister, she is just before the storms. I did send money to this facility over here. the Barclay in Pasadena. It's a senior living facility. And what they did was they transferred her to Sarasota because of the storms coming this way. From Sarasota, they transferred her to West Palm Beach because the storm was going to hit Sarasota. Now they brought her back to Sarasota. So I'm dealing with a lot of issues with her because they raised the prices. She was supposed to come back to Pasadena after they fixed the place over here. But now they keep telling me that they're not going to be, it's going to be longer because the property has more damages over here in Pasadena. So they're going to keep her in Sarasota, or we would have to find another home for her somewhere else. So I've been looking for a home in Clearwater and in St. Pete and in Orlando because my kids live in Orlando. But it's not so easy for me to do all these things because of my health reasons. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because I wanted to give you a small idea that I have been going through my health issues. I know that the city of Madera needs this property to be cleaned out up to the standards and all that, which I will try to do my best to the compliances.
All right, sir, thank you so much for saying that, and I appreciate you saying that. All right, are there any members of the public who have direct knowledge as to this code violation that would like to come forward and be heard today? All right, come on up.
I'm not sure that she's been sworn in. In fact, I don't think Mr. Diaz was sworn in either.
Okay. Why don't you both go ahead and raise your hands, and let's be sworn in today.
You swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Ma'am, what is your name?
Brenda Fernandez.
Brenda
Brenda, yeah.
Fernandez?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Fernandez, what is it that you'd like to share today during public comment?
I'm a neighbor in the community, and I'm a neighbor from John's sister's house. I was walking by and I saw the property and I saw the sign that it was in front of the property, that it was gonna be a hearing, so I called the for sale number that it was by owner, so I thought the owner put the sign, but it was John. He explained it that he was pretty much the person in charge of the sister. I explained it to him that he was gonna have a hearing, and I called him on Friday and the hearing was Monday. It was only like a 2-day or something like that. He didn't have much time. So that was Thursday. So I came on Friday. I spoke with Robin, the city manager, explained the whole situation. They moved the hearing for him. I have experience. I have worked in Madera City before with the whole compliance and violations. My husband is a contractor. So I went through all the codes and I offered John help. He said immediately, yes, let's work on it. We started working on putting everything together for him. We walked the house. He was also a little bit concerned about the FEMA situation. That's why he didn't want to touch the house, because they don't have insurance, and insurance need pictures of the conditions of the house. So there was a little bit of miscommunication between FEMA and him and the sister. So it took him like a week or so to pretty much clarify that he can remove all the items and he only needed pictures. So we helped him with that. We took pictures of the property of the way that it was before. As of now, the only code violation that the house is having at this moment is just the soffit and fascia. Everything else is being removed from the property. All the palms, all the debris, everything through the entire backyard, front yard, all that is being removed. And the reason why the fascia and soffit is still in place is because it's more like structural, and then they need to get a private appraisal to see if, they can move forward with the renovation of the property, to see if the city is going to allow them to rebuild the home. We offer him and we advised him to remove all the interior because there was mold growing inside of the property, and the property adjusters, the insurance adjuster, wouldn't be able to walk in the house even to see the damage. There was so much debris. There was furniture everywhere, so they couldn't walk. So we are helping him pretty much remove all the furniture, all the debris. The property is already clean. The only thing up to this point that is not being touched is the soffit and fascia.
and it's pretty much for the insurance purposes and to see, if the property going to be able to be, salvageable for the future. If not, it's going to be a total demo, and it's pointless to fix something that we're going to eventually maybe have to tear it down.
All right, thank you, Ms. Fernandez, I appreciate that. All right, thank you all very much. That'll close public comment. Mr. Trask, I'll give you the last word. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me on this one?
I think it's clear that the code violations have been proven, that they have not been disputed. We're asking that you find a violation of the cited code sections, give the property owner 60 days to come into compliance, or a $250 a day fine for every day that the property remains in noncompliance after the 60 days is run.
All right, thank you very much. Based upon the evidence provided to me, I do find that all the violations set forth in the notice have been proven by the city. Based upon the testimony, I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to give the owner 75 days to come into compliance. So the city asked for 60, the owner asked for 90. I'm going to do 75. I do believe that $250 a day is an appropriate fine amount, given the health, safety, and welfare issues. And, sir, I'm very much guided by Section 14-7 or 14-60 of the code, which, talks about the city's declaration of policy. And the policy of this city is to make sure that there aren't dilapidated structures out there that could be considered a blight. And so I'm guided by what the elected officials of this city have told me I should do when I'm interpreting this code. So I'm going to go ahead and find there's a violation. We'll give you 75 days to bring it into compliance, $250 fine after that. And that concludes the hearing on CE 24-63 for the property located at 435 South Bayshore Drive. All right, let's move on to I believe now this is going to be the last one on the agenda today.
I have a question, sir.
Okay, sir, your hearing's concluded, but I'll try to answer it quickly if
Okay.
it's a simple question.
Would the city also issue a permit? Because what if we don't get a permit to do this, because
Sure.
everything needs a permit.
Let me answer that. As you may have heard in my intro, maybe you came in after, I do not have the power to grant a building permit. I'm here solely to determine whether or not a city code has
I would
been.
like to ask the
Why
city.
don't you do this, sir? We've got one more matter that I've got to go through on the agenda. I would encourage you to sit here through that one, and then you can talk to Ms. Mills or Mr. Trask if he has time to talk to you today, or they can direct you to who you might need to direct your inquiry to at the city.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's move on to the last hearing, which is CE 24-53 for the property located at 13063 Boca Ciega Avenue. Is the city ready to proceed?
Yes, we are.
Go ahead, Mr. Trask.
Call Grace Mills. Grace, is this a proactive case, or was it a result of a complaint?
It's proactive.
Okay. Who is the owner of this property located at 13063 Boca Ciega Avenue?
From the property appraiser starting on page 69, Michael David Fortunato.
Okay, and did you also find the owner of the property, the tax collector's records as well?
Yes, starting on page 72, it would reflect the same.
Okay. What was the date that you went out to this property and found the violation?
June 11th of last year, 2024.
Okay, and what was the violation you found at the property?
There were two separate issues. The dock at the property was failing and coming into the water, and also that there were an abundance of, what is the word I'm trying to say? Floating docks on the property that were not in a dock permit.
Okay. When you were out at the property that day, did you take a photograph to show the special magistrate what was actually there?
Yes, on 77. You can see the end of the dock that has started to fail and go into the water. Also, the jet skis and the jet ski floating docks, which need to be permitted, do not have a permit for them.
So did you take this photograph from a boat?
I did.
Okay, so is the city now using a boat to go into the canals and so forth to find code violations?
We are.
Okay, and what's the purpose of the city doing that versus finding the violations from the street side, for example?
There are a lot of violations that you can't see from the street. So if it comes into health, safety of failing docks or seawalls that have fallen in, we found a lot after the storms. Just things that we're not able to see from the street view, backs of houses, sheds, stuff like that.
Okay. So you didn't get in the boat just to go check this property out. You
No.
were doing the citywide review of the Bogosiega Bay.
That's correct.
Okay. And you came upon this one,
Yes.
found this violation. Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that, we're not picking this one out of all the rest of them. This is one of many, right?
Yes, we occasionally go out and just do a view from the boat to see if there's anything outstanding from backs of houses, no one in particular.
Okay. All right. So when you went out there in June of 2024 and you found these violations, we now know who the property owner is. You had just mentioned that from the property appraiser and tax collector's office. Did you issue a courtesy notice of code violation?
Yes, June 25th of 2024.
Okay, I want you to go to page 75 of the packet. Let's talk about that one first.
Oh, yes, sorry, June 11th, 2024.
Okay, so in this courtesy notice of code violation, what code section was cited as being the violation?
14164 mentions the dock falling into disrepair that needs to be fixed. 14186 is basically saying that the jet ski floating docks need to be within a dock permit, so they need to be included. They need to be permitted. They are not permitted.
Okay. So when you sent out this courtesy notice, did you give a compliance date?
June 25th, 2024. And in this copy on page 76, my signature is missing just because it's saved off the computer, but the one that was sent did have my signature.
Okay. Did you get a response to that letter?
No.
Did you send it by regular mail?
The first one, yes.
Okay. Let's go to the notice of code violation on page 78 of the packet. Is this the same notice?
Yep, same ordinances. It was sent June 25th, 2024, certified mail, and I gave a follow-up date of July 9th, but everything else is the same.
Did you also send it by regular mail?
Yes.
Did you get the regular mail back on either the courtesy notice or this notice of code violation?
So for the second notice of code violation, I did, and it's reflected on 81 and 82. I'm so sorry. On 83 and 84 is reflecting that it was refused, unable to forward, and to return to sender.
That was the green card, the registered or certified mail, but the regular mail did not come back, correct?
It did not, no.
Okay. And the address that you used for the purposes of sending that notice of code violation, is that the exact same address that's listed in the property appraiser and tax collector's office?
Yes.
Okay. But the property owner refused it according to the sticker?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And the following 84 and 85, after it came back refused, I sent it certified again, and we did not get it back. We did not get a green card back either.
Okay. So did you issue a statement of violation on this property?
I did, yes. Starting on page 86 is going to be the affidavit of service that was sent February 14th of this year.
Okay, my question was statement of violation. That's on page 91 of the packet?
Yeah, I think this one's a little bit backwards. Yes,
Yeah,
I
it's kind of a
did.
little bit out of order in the packet. Okay, so the statement of violation request for hearing, that was sent by regular mail and certified mail?
Correct.
The regular mail didn't come back?
No,
Okay, we didn't get the green card back yet either, though?
not yet, no.
Okay. Okay, and then you issued a notice of hearing, that's on page 89?
Yes.
Okay, so a question, on page 89, it's reflecting in the notice of hearing and the statement of violation is a different spelling of Mr. Fortunato's last name. Can you tell me which is the correct spelling?
The correct spelling is what was in the violations. It's with a T, not a D in the last name. That was my error on the notices.
Okay, so it's just a typo.
Yes.
Okay. And then you had started out with your affidavit of service on page 86. This is the document that reflects that you spent the statement of violation and the notice of hearing by well, at least it's saying here, the notice of hearing by regular mail, certified mail, you posted the property, and you also posted at City Hall?
That's correct.
Okay. And let's talk about the last couple of pages in your packet. If you could turn to page 95.
Sure. This is taken on February 7th, 2025. We were doing just our regular rounds of the island. And the dock is in worse disrepair. It's to the left of the boat. It's the main house in the center of the photo. The dock has continued to fall into the water, and there still are jet ski docks there.
Okay. And page 96 is what?
That is the property being posted for the magistrate documents that we had spoke about earlier on February 14th of this year.
Okay, and page 97?
That is the postings at City Hall.
Okay. So to bring the property into compliance, the property owner just needs to fix the dock or remove it. And if he wants the jet ski floating docks, he has to get a permit for that, correct?
That's it,
All right.
yes.
So how much time do you think would be a reasonable period of time to accomplish those two tasks?
30 days.
And what dollar amount of fine would you think would be appropriate should he not bring it into compliance within 30 days?
I would say $150 a day just with the failing dock issue.
Okay. Don't have any other questions at this point. I would tender into evidence page 69 through, I guess, 97 it is. Yeah, 97. Ask it be received into evidence.
All right, I'll go ahead and accept into evidence as exhibit number 1, pages 69 through 97 of the exhibit packet. All right, is there anyone here on behalf of the owner? Mr. Fortunato, anyone here on behalf of the owner? All right, let the record reflect there is no one in the audience and no one coming to the podium. All right, are there any members of the public who are directly affected or have direct knowledge of this code enforcement proceeding that would like to come forward? Again, let the record reflect there is no one in the audience and no one coming forward. All right, Mr. Trask, anything else on this one?
No, thank you.
All right, based upon the evidence provided to me, I do find the property is in violation as set forth in the notice of violation. Going to go ahead and find that 30 days is the appropriate time to bring the property into compliance. Thereafter, there'll be a $150 a day fine. All right, Mr. Trask, are those all of the code enforcement matters before me today?
They are, this is it. Well, the other ones, they'll be coming back next month.
Okay, very good. And again, my apologies for not getting here on time today. I appreciate everyone's patience. So have a great day, everybody.
All right, thank you.